Now then YouTube, welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be all about painting the roll cage on the Integra, which is something that I've not done before, but how hard can it be, right? Painting the roll cage. Piece of piss, right? Let me show you where the car's currently at and I'll tell you what I'm planning on doing today. And yeah, hopefully we can stick to the plan and by the end of the day we'll have a nice championship white looking good roll cage. It's not looking so good at the minute. The cage has been done for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks now and it's just been sat in the unit and yeah, there's a few odd little bits which are starting to already get a bit of corrosion on, so you know we need to paint this cage today. So once it's done, it'll be all sealed, no more rust can appear. But I'll give you a quick look now. I'll show you what we're going to be doing, show you the plan, show you what I've bought to do it. So far I've spent probably around £80 maybe on materials for this, and then it's probably going to take us most of the day, I imagine. We'll probably spend an hour or so prepping first and you know masking everything off, and then just a few hours painting. Oh, you might notice that I painted the front end as well. So the front end was in primer the last time you saw it, I think. So that's been painted now. One thing I did notice, and unfortunately I'd already ordered the primer for the cage before noticing this, but I really should have got some white primer, because covering the grey primer with championship white paint was not easy. It took quite a bit more paint than what I thought it would, and that's left us with 2.5 cans to do the roll cage, but I'm sure it'll be all right. So what have I got? I've got some etch primer, just the cheapest stuff I could get pretty much, but I mean I've used this stuff before and it was all right. I had an etch primer and it's all the same. And these paints, and I also got the cheapest paint I could find as well. I just went on, where did I go, on Google, just looking around. This come from a shop in Northern Ireland, some championship white paint. They were doing the aerosol can 400ml with some lacquer for 12 quid. I think I got 4 of them. I used 1.5 on the front and I saved 2.5 to do the roll cage, which should be enough, I'm hoping. The only concern, like I say, is covering up that grey primer, but you know, there's not a lot I can do. I tried to buy some white primer this morning, just to try, and I was thinking I was going to do a few coats of the grey and then do one of the white, and then hopefully that'll give the paint a better chance to shine through. But when I went to collect this morning, they didn't have any in stock, so no white primer unless I can find some, because I've got loads of random shit in boxes over there, so I might try and find some white primer. But what's the plan? So I'm gonna try and tidy the interior a little bit first to get rid of all this shit, and then I'm going to start masking just where I don't want to get overspray on things. Obviously the interior is not the tidiest, but I still want to make sure that I just don't get overspray over everything and make it look like a right mess. Obviously the white paint's not going to be too much of an issue, but when we're priming things I don't want to get like bits of primer stuck all over it. Although at the same time, race car doesn't really matter that much, does it? But I thought I'd make a bit of an effort. I mean, the masking tape and the masking paper was about £5 or something altogether, so you know, it's not a massive cost. It'll take a little while just to make everything a little bit neater, and then hopefully we don't get spray over everything. So yeah, I'm going to mask the area up, just give it a rough up with this shit. These scratchy boys. Took me ages to find these in the shop because they weren't called scratchy boys, or they weren't called Scotch pads or whatever. What I thought they were. They've got their own sanding pads. All right, we'll call them sanding pads for now. But yeah, I've also got, as you can see on top of the Audi, there's an interior carpet there, so I might try and get that installed as well at the end, depending on how things look. I think that should cover up a lot of the horrible paint here, which I was thinking about repainting, and then I was like, no, I just stick the carpet back in, it'll be fine. And then maybe do something about the back end, because the back end looks pretty gross. But I mean, it's never going to be a show car, this car. All we need to do is make sure that cage doesn't rust, really. That's the main reason we're painting it. But I mean, if we could try and make everything look a bit nicer at the same time, like the front end just looks a bit nicer. You know, it's far from perfect because I did it, obviously, but you know, it's not too bad. It certainly looks a lot better than what it did before, and yeah, hopefully we'll get the same kind of result with the roll cage. Right, so I got most of the car masked off. I kind of realised that while I was doing this, I'm not really going to be able to prevent myself from getting overspray over. You know, there's going to be a little bit of overspray here and there, and really, I don't really care that much. I mean, I bought the masking stuff because I thought I'll try and like limit it somewhat, but ultimately there's probably going to be some. I mean, just trying to mask the areas of the roll cage where it's so close to the body, it's like it's going to be hard enough to paint it, never mind mask it. So yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but I don't think anyone expected it to be. So I mean, I've started rubbing the roll cage, and it's like changing colour, which is quite cool. From the original kind of steel, it's gone like a nice little shiny steel. Look at that. Which is pretty cool. This is what it looked like before. Look, you can see how it's a bit bit duller and a bit more raw. And then just a quick rub with this, and ooh, it looks all nice and shiny. To be fair, it looks nice just like that. Maybe we should just lacquer it silver or something, but yeah, we'll have a go at painting it. So I'm going to carry on giving it a rub down, then I'm going to give it some primer, and then yeah, we'll see what it looks like in primer. The thing is, it's the primer that's going to be the overspray, because obviously the colour that I'm painting is the same colour as the car anyway, so overspraying championship white, it's not really a big concern, but it's the primer that's going to look awful if we get that anywhere. So I guess if we do get any horrible primer overspray parts, we can just go over them with some championship white and then hope no one notices. It's never going to be a show car, is it? But I mean, it'd be nice for it to look presentable. That's what we're going for here, presentable, or at least the Instagram test. If it passes a 10-foot Instagram test, then it's fine. Oh, and the floors kind of become free ball, to be honest. I started masking up these little boxes here, but I mean, trying to do it on that corner in there, I was like, that's hard. And I mean, if I put a carpet in anyway, it'll be all right. So it'll be all right. Just a bit of overspray, you know. It's all good. And then obviously the brown paper bags up. At least the B pillars should be pretty overspray free. I mean, they're pretty messed up. Well, steering wheel, no chance. David French, don't worry about that, mate. That's all fucking good. That's all good. It's all good. So I've just been round and given the cage a wipe after sanding it, just with a, what's this, like a degreaser cloth thing, and loads of shit coming off of it, but I think most of it's come from my hands, because my hands are proper dusty, but yeah, looks all right. So I'm going to give it another wipe with just a brand new, I'm going to treat myself to a brand new microfiber cloth, just give it another wipe to make sure that's not left any residue behind, which it shouldn't have done, but. Okay, this was a new cloth, this. Look at that. Missed. Right, I've run out of paint, so what we've got is final. Obviously we need to put some lacquer on, but we're pretty happy with it. The colour looks alright. I kept getting caught out by the shadows of things, making it look like there's more primer on them, but when you get everything in the light, everything's pretty good and looks about the same colour, which is pretty ideal, isn't it? As I say, I've no idea how I'm supposed to paint right up there at the top, but it'll be all right, I'm sure. If it starts rusting, at least you can't see it. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, that's 2 cans of lacquer into the roll cage. Lacquered it on, as they say. This is the last can, and I'm going to stand. I'm quite far back here for the last challenge. Oh. Sometimes I'm a bit better when it's over the top of my head. That was pretty good, that, wasn't it? Right, I'm all done. So I'll see you in the next video. It's been great. All I've done is paint my roll cage, but in the interest of vlogs, I hope it's been a good one. I hope you'll stay to see the future progress on the Integra. Next jobs for the Integra is probably, like I said, I brought the carpet with me, but I'm going to give it I'm going to give it overnight at least, just to dry off, because I don't want to be climbing in and out and knocking the paint. So I'm going to leave it just as it is now. I'm just going to roll it forward. Pretty happy with that. So I spent about 80 quid on materials and got the front end done and the roll cage done for that. Plus a bit of paint that I found lying around. I probably could have done with another can of paint. I think I got through about 3.5 cans of primer and yeah, about 4 cans of paint, but the paint cans were slightly smaller and blah, blah, blah. If you wanna do it yourself, then you need a fair few cans. And I only just scraped it in the roll cage. Ideally I would have had another can, because you can see in some stages you can still see the primer through the white and it doesn't look quite right, but I mean, I'm happy with it, you know, considering you know, how much it's cost me in a few hours. It looks pretty good, so see what happens next time. Might get an engine in it soon. Oh shit, boys. I'll see you next time. We'll do something else